Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into a Monday night live stream here tonight at 7:30. I don't know, is there a lot going on? Maybe, maybe not. It's been a few days, so only 1K to 300K. Yeah, I know. I'm just waiting for it to happen. It's like 900 subscriber or like 970 subscribers, I think, until 300. Yeah, I decided to put the counter up because when it got under 1K, you might as well. So, guys, I mean, the only way you guys can even comment is if you already subscribed. So, but guys, make sure you subscribe because I'm very close. Texas drama. Yeah, the Dems are really nervous that they're going to redraw. They're going to add 5 or 6 seats. Of course, they're going to be angry about that. I don't know. They're going to get arrested or something. I saw something about that. Well, remember, they talked a big game. They said, we'll just redraw if you redraw. Well, they don't have any ammo in the chamber, the Democrats, because of the way that, a lot of the Democratic states have to have special elections to be able to redraw. They've got nothing left in the chamber. So now they have to pivot back. And I actually want to do a video talking about the Census Bureau and how they misreported literal population numbers in states. And just coincidentally, every time there was a miscount on population, it favored the Democrats. And I think it's affected like 15 seats. That's got to be a separate video. Sydney Sweeney is a registered Republican, was wearing a hat similar to MAGA hats at her mom's birthday. Yeah, that was a while ago, though. But I saw that came out that she was a registered Republican. And I guess people, they're going to say, that's the thing. When you have a following that's like you're a pop star and there's a lot of Democrats that follow you. And it's like the Joey Swoll thing. You do content that's not in political and then they find out your political beliefs and the people are going to throw a fucking hissy fit. So that's kind of what happens. I mean, I don't think she cares. You've been stuck in the 290s forever. Mm, maybe since June. I don't know. I can't really remember exactly. I think I'm gaining 5K a month now, so it would be since in June, maybe. Do you think they should have rebuilt the original Twin Towers instead of the One World Trade Center rebuilding? No, I don't think they should have, unless they were going to do a glass version of the Twin Towers. I think if they rebuilt the Twin Towers, it would have to be a more modernized version. The design of I mean, at that point, what was it, the early 1970s, really the late 1960s, when the designs were going on. That type of design is completely obsolete. There's no natural light that gets let into any of those buildings. You can't rebuild that. I mean, the buildings would be obsolete nowadays. They would be functional, but you're not going to rebuild the Twin Towers in the way that they were. You could rebuild the two towers that looked the exact same in a more modern sense, though. That's what I would say. DG2 going to go for 1 million subscribers. That's pretty much impossible. Unless somehow my main channel blew up and gained like 30 million and then the second channel gets 1 million, but that's not going to happen. Over under Florida 7.5 wins. I don't know what to tell you on that. I would say probably. I've been seeing a lot of hype with Florida, man. I'd have to look at their schedule. They got DJ Lagway. We'll see. I know they got ranked inside the top 20 in the coaches poll I saw. Florida. Joey tried to apologize to the mob and then undid his apology. Yeah, it's just so pathetic. Like, you can't apologize to those people. You can't even acknowledge them. Just ignore them. It's their opinions are irrelevant. But it's like all these people that, oh, if you don't, call white people, say white people are terrible, and oh, he said the N-word once, so you have to disown him, and if you praise him, you're racist. It's not 19, or it's not. It's not, 2017, 2018 anymore. It's not 2020. It's not BLM time. We're thankfully over that. Headed to the next U.S. territory, Greenland, in a week. You wouldn't have known about the Newark to Nook flight if you hadn't mentioned it. So they really, you're actually taking that flight? Yeah, they've got direct flights to Greenland from the United States, and it is from New Jersey. It's part of the normalization process. I'm kidding. We're normalizing, Americans flying there, but you're going there just for fun. It's it's very cold. It's probably a great climate right now. It was really nice the past few days in the Northeast and in Ohio. It was in the low 70s was the high. So it was really just such a great temperature. And now it's starting to get hot again. So what are you going to do? I think we're going to maybe get another cold down maybe in like 3 weeks or 4 weeks. Yeah, apologizing only makes it worse, right? Because then they get power over you. Those people are legitimately evil. They are evil. Any like person that considers themselves a leftist or really just any liberal is just. I mean, you don't want to generalize like that. But anyone that's like anyone that got upset over Joey Swole praising Hulk Hogan because Hulk Hogan said the N word. It's just like, bro, get out of 2020. Thankfully, we've evolved past that. We're done. We're done doing the apologizing because we're white. We're just sick of it. Warren got smoked on CNBC. Elizabeth Warren, you're talking about? Was she trying to? I didn't see that. Why is Trump so pro-Israel and pro-Jewish? Is it because he's from New York and he grew up with them? Um, well, he's been pro-Israel. Well, the Israel position has evolved over the past 10, 12 years. Originally, it was popular for Republicans to be pro-Israel. He said he was the most pro-Israel president ever, and that was like praised, or at least within the Republican circles. Obviously, it's evolved, and he hasn't really evolved with it. But I think there's probably something behind the scenes going on with that, if I had to guess. And Trump's a boomer. I mean, he's really old. So the boomers really do still like Israel. And you have to have perspective of how old Trump is. Apparently, he hasn't evolved, though. Well, again, what is Trump? Almost 80 years old. I mean, so, I did a video today talking about a really good situation with the immigration and just the net negative migration that we're going to see this year. It's a very, I was like, I want to do a good video because it's just constant. It's like constant negative stuff with Trump, it feels like. So, but that's actually really good because I saw that a few days ago and I was like, why don't I just make a video about that? Because that seems like a big deal. If that actually happens and we get a net negative migration. Did you see the arrest warrants issued by Texas governor to Democrat lawmakers? It's all part of the process. Democrats are freaking the fuck out because Republicans are going to gerrymander the state and add 5 or 6 seats. Republicans only have the House right now by 5 seats. So if they add another 5 seats and then another 2 or 3 in Ohio and then another 3 or 4 in Florida, it's almost going to put it out of reach. The Democrats are doing this thing where they threaten to retaliate and we're going to change. There's laws in place that prevent them from gerrymandering certain states. So they really have they're a paper tiger. They're all talk. They're not going to be able to do the level of redrawing the districts that that the Republicans are going to be able to. So I see it as they're just completely threatened, and they know if this happens, it's going to be very hard for them to win the House. And the House is the only chance they have. They're not going to win the Senate. Their best case scenario is probably 49 seats. The Democrats. What do you think about XRP? XRP, it's a boomer coin. I mean, it's every live stream, and I understand. I mean, it's got a huge following because of how its market cap and everything like that. But its market cap is gonna impede it from really doing a 10 or a 15x. It's just so high. Did you see CNN praising Trump on tariffs? Yeah, well, there were a few segments they've been praising Trump on, and they'll do that from time to time with that little polling dude. He always puts. He seems like all of his stuff that he puts out on X is like praising Trump, kind of being the contrarian to the network. And CNN has tried to do that more so in Trump's second term, where they want to act more fair. They're international. CNN is more so international, I think, and they want to try and repaint themselves. It's just not. I mean, Jake Tapper puts out the book against the Biden administration, but they want to be known as like international world news as opposed to like MSNBC, who very clearly they want to court the far left people. Did you already talk about the Texas Democrats fleeing? Let me actually look this up right now. Texas redistricting, Texas Democrats. House Democrats have fled the state. Yeah, so so what they're trying to delay the redistricting from happening. I think this is what people thought was going to happen. Did you see Sydney Sweeney get called a racist? Yeah, I responded to that. I said it doesn't being called a racist doesn't matter at all. They made the word irrelevant because they use it on everyone. That's why they call people incels now, because the word racist doesn't mean anything. Elon been posting a lot since you last live streamed. Really, I haven't seen much from Elon. He must not be really posting much about politics. Normally, if he posts like a big political thing, it'll show up on my timeline. But other than that, I don't really get. A lot of it is just, shilling his products and shilling his companies, from what I see. Thoughts on the Bristol MLB game? I liked it. It was a disaster, but it was cool to see. I think they should go to more places. It's unfortunate. They gave themselves an extra day. It was like one day, and then Sunday was off in case there was a rain delay or a rain out. And I don't even know why they tried playing on Saturday night. There were puddles in the infield of that Bristol game. But I thought it was unique. It was kind of cool to see the crazy seating, the crazy amount of fans like that. It's just a massive bleacher going all the way around. So it was cool to see, like, when there were home runs hit, you could see how high the stands were. It was just a different type of situation. It was an exotic game. You don't understand why they would be leaving. What is that supposed to accomplish? I think they're trying to delay the redrawing of the districts. I mean, they're freaking out, man. They left on a private jet. Wouldn't Republicans be doing the bitching if it was a Democrat state? If the Yeah, you mean like both? Yeah, I mean both sides gerrymander for sure. 100% both sides do. Look at Illinois, look at California. I mean, Gavin Newsom is threatening to redraw the districts to make, there be zero Republican representation. So it really is a both sides issue. And I mean, if you take a look at the last two elections in terms of just the popular vote on the congressional level, Republicans have been gypped out of a few seats relative to their popular vote numbers. So I mean, it's not like Republicans are losing the popular vote on the congressional level, but they're gerrymandering so hard to the point to where they still somehow maintain an advantage, a seat advantage. It's not what's really happening. But I mean, it's definitely a both sides do it. Obviously, for Trump, he knows how important it is to keep the House. He learned in 2018 with that disaster of a midterm But this is a different scenario now. Trump's a lot more, he's got a lot better approval rating. They have a much better chance in the 2026 midterms. Certainly, the Senate is aligned a lot better. And if you redraw 5 or 6 seats, you're going to look at like a 10 or a 12 seat advantage instead of a 5 seat advantage, which is what they have right now. Not the first time they pulled this stunt, used private jets last time as well. Yeah, it seems like a whole lot to do about nothing. And of course, the fantastic governor here in Illinois. Yeah, J.B. Pritzker. I heard he was funding the whole thing. He's a billionaire. He might be running in 2028. I don't think he's going to go anywhere. Money. I appreciate it. It's a nice donation. Did you watch the MLB Speedway Classic? Yeah, I just talked about it a little bit. I thought it was cool. They should do things like that. It was good, but it just turned out in a unfortunate rain situation there. And apparently there was also a problem with food, which surprises me because, Bristol is supposed to be able to serve, what is it, like 160, 170K is total capacity of it, 200K maybe. And so I don't know why they would have a problem, but maybe it was done by MLB, and so there were different vendors. I'm not sure, but there was a problem, like the food wasn't good, or there wasn't enough food for people, and that's like an infrastructure issue. When you have something like that, you got to be able to run that properly. There's a lot of stuff you got to account for. The issue is you're only doing one game, so it's like they don't want to put too much money into it as an investment. Odds on us being nuked? No, I don't think we're ever going to get nuked. At least not. It doesn't make sense for another country to do it. They would be. I mean, it's mutually assured destruction. We know that. So in a way, it's a deterrent. But I don't see that happening. I mean, I think a nuke would be used maybe against a smaller country towards the end of a war, just like World War II. That's probably the only way it gets used. Or by a rogue smaller country against another small country. Like a North Korea situation. Is the bull run still on? Yeah, no, it is still on, man. It's still on. You just got to be patient. You just got to be patient. It's going to be a big. I think it's going to be a big time in the fall and the winter. Hopefully, I mean, at a certain point, some of my coins are starting to move a little bit. Some of them retraced a little bit. It's. Did you watch the Nick Fuentes stream exposing Tucker and his dad as CIA? Tucker is clearly a CIA plant. Yeah, I feel bad for Tucker, honestly. It's been a tough few days for Tucker. So, I mean, it's just a lot of people dogpiling on him. I don't know, but I was never a huge fan of Tucker, but do you think there are any sound-minded Democrats left or any moderates? Well, there are, of course, there's always going to be moderates. The question is, who do the Democratic voters elevate? They normally elevate people further left that obviously we don't agree with on pretty much on basically anything. The Democrats have certain positions that would definitely appeal to an electorate. They just have to find someone that can properly present them. The other problem is they're dealing with, they're going to deal with their own very far leftists, and there's a lot of younger kids that have kind of been contaminated with the communist or socialist belief. It's a pipeline. A lot of them will claim they're socialist, but they're mainly communist, and so they got to deal with that within their own party. That's like leftists versus liberals. You can just buy 5% CDs and not worry about it. Well, think about it. If you buy when it comes to the stock market, I mean, if you make a lot of money off crypto, I would just want to put a lot of it into probably the Nasdaq. What, the QQQ? The QQQ get a nice 8 to 10% return if you have like a decent amount of money, like 6 figures. You could within 10 years you could make a lot off of that. If you have an absolute fuck ton of money, you could just put it in bonds. But that's only if you're limiting your return potential. But you're also limiting your risk to basically nothing. I mean, that if you're rich, you could just have like 5% bond $1 million, or I don't know if there's a cap on it. Is there a cap on it? I wonder. Thoughts on Trump ordering nuclear submarines near Russia as a threat? I don't think I don't think it's anything. I don't think it's anything at all. I think Trump is angry. It's not escalation. People, I think, are making too big a deal out of it. Subs were already there. And, well, that's interesting because I heard a lot of people say, I never thought it was a big deal, but I heard a lot of people say that there were 2 subs deployed there or something. And no, I know Trump is mad at Putin for sure. 5% basically the same as money market account. 5% is, I think, pretty much the highest rate you're gonna get of free money. Like, are you ever gonna get a 6 or a 7% bond? I feel like that almost never happens. Like, it's 4.5%, 3.5%, maybe 5% treasury bond. Arnold Schwarzenegger is planning to fight Gavin Newsom's plan to gerrymander the state in favor of Democrats. Newsom wants to override independent redistricting commission. Wow. That is kind of funny that Democrats, they set up the commissions as like, well, we don't like gerrymandering. And they realize they're going to get crushed. And so now they're like, fuck the commission. So he's trying to override it, and we'll see what happens here. Yeah, this is probably big for Newsom. I mean, anytime Newsom can get in mainstream news, I'm sure he wants to do it and be like a badass that, gerrymanders the hell out of California. Have you read Kamala's new book yet? I didn't even know it was out. Is it out? Yeah, she goes on. It is funny how those people grift. Like, the only time you'll see them ever do appearances, it's because I've got a new book. Ooh, so I have to promote it. It's just all so fake. Trump wanted to rebuild the Twin Towers. It would have been called the Twin Towers too. Yeah, I know. I saw that, and I've done a few videos on that. And it would have been the exact same, just 5 floors higher, and they would have been reinforced. There would have been a few different building techniques. Like, they obviously would have been reinforced more, and they would have kept the original tridents. Did you see that at the bottom? Favorite Rocky movie? I guess the first one. Palantir crushed their earnings today. MTG wants Trump to do something about Soros. Yeah, well, MTG, I think, is like, she's trying to go to more like the further. She's trying to be like, well, the Republicans are rhinos, and she doesn't fit in with the Republican Party. Did she was saying something like that? I don't know. Dems are still pissed about Trump ballroom. Well, this is what I'll say about the ballroom. It is being fully privately financed, and it's actually a functional thing because there's no proper way to host people within the White House, and they do have the issue to where they will bring in these foreign diplomats, and there's like 100 or 200 people. There's nowhere to host them, so they have to put up these tents. These are temporary tents. These are tents that are used during a graduation party. And so if you have something like that, you would like to see a little bit more of a grandiose thing at the White House, and so it's a privately financed ballroom. People say, well, it's too, it's too, it's overbearing. It shouldn't be right next to the White House. Well, I mean, you have to be able to host these people, and you can't put up these fake these temporary tents. It's not a good look for the United States. 107 days, lol. Kamala said on Stephen Colbert that her birthday was in October 2024 was ruined. I saw that. Yeah, she's like, and then, dude, Colbert looked pissed. Did you see that? Colbert was she was just like she was like, Dougie didn't give me my the birthday gift that I wanted or some bullshit. And then Colbert's like, yeah, why don't you talk about that? And she's like, you're gonna have to buy the book. And then Colbert's like, all right, bitch, just tell me which page it is. I mean, that's honestly what he was like, getting angry. He was like, all right, what page is it? He's like, this interview is just pathetic. You're just grifting your book. And I'm just, even Colbert was getting mad. Your video you posted on 9/11 was impressive. Yeah, I know. Those are the only videos that do real well for me at this point, is the 9/11 stuff. But I'm surprised they still do as well as they do. But I guess the algorithm likes it. When you put out good content, the algorithm rewards you. When you put out bad content, you get what you get. Let's just say that. Can you address whether you believe in the concept of good and evil? I do think there is something to the way people are not fully built. Like, I don't think somebody is fully built to be evil. I think there are prerequisites that are involved in individuals that lead them certain ways. Their aggressiveness, their nature, their style, different things like that. Oh, come on with this, man. They're really gonna try and get this guy out. I mean, why would Taylor Green want Santos out? He's probably only gonna serve 2 years, I heard. What's the full post say about Nancy Mace being governor? Um, I did see that. Mainstream slop, mainstream debate. I'll try and find that thing. Chuck Todd now has moved to CNN. His next career path. Chuck Todd. Chuck the Toddcast. Really? That's the name of. Oh my, yeah. Too many people have podcasts. That's for sure. Chuck the Toddcast. Trump wants to build a nuclear reactor on the moon. This doesn't seem feasible. I don't know what is the benefits to building one on the moon. It seems like it's kind of a waste of resources. Why does Trump pardon so many famous people? Yeah, did you see the other pardon? Remember the pardon for Christie? The Christies? The reality TV people? Talking about partying, Diddy and all this. I think it's really bad, honestly, but he is really obsessed with I mean, there's obviously stuff behind the scenes. He gets certain things, I'm sure, for doing it. It's just the reality. Moon Station or base on Mars. Griffin Station is what it would be called if they do a base on Moon. You know Griffin Station? Why don't they rebuild the Twin Towers? No, no, because the Twin Towers were the design of the Twin Towers was obsolete. You can't rebuild the Twin Towers. It doesn't make sense. In 2020, even in the early 2000s, it wouldn't make sense to rebuild the Twin Towers in that way. I'm telling you guys. You know, the One World Trade Center, the only problem is it's like a fatter building. I think the One World Trade Center looks really nice, honestly. And I thought the Two World Trade Center would have been a good design, but they never got the funding for it. They started building it. They built the foundation of the Two World Trade Center. It was going to be the diamond shape. Yeah, they were going to build the diamond shaped Two World Trade Center. It didn't happen, but I thought it would have been pretty cool. I thought to go with different designs. I mean, One World Trade Center kind of looks like it's like an imperial type design almost, like a modern, ultra modern imperialist type design. That's what it looks like to me. There's so much room in the Twin Towers compared. What do you mean? Two World Trade Center will double the employment rates. No, they wouldn't even build it that way. You would be zoned mainly residential because there's not enough people that want to go into to work and be in offices. I mean, there would definitely be offices within the Two World Trade Center if they actually built it, but there would be a lot of apartments. There would be different areas that are not offices. I'll tell you that. I mean, there'd be some offices, but it would be different. I mean, they were fighting when they were talking about building it to where it would include different different functions on different levels, basically. Like it would be a partial office, but you're not going to build a big building like that in 2025 to where it's just a fully. I mean, unless the situation called for it. In New York City, it doesn't call for it because they've got enough offices. Eli, what's up, man? You know how the Freedom Tower narrows as it gets taller compared to the old World Trade Centers? Well, the old World Trade Centers were honestly just blocks. But I understand doing a simplistic design because there's two of them. But they were just blocks, and yeah, I mean it's a irregular design going up. But I mean the Empire State Building, even though it's more of a block design, is also more narrow going up. You're on your phone and the ads on your stream are fine for you. Some people were saying it wasn't showing up. Yeah, I don't even think it honestly matters. It doesn't like if it shows up or not. I don't even get enough views on the stream for it to really impact my revenue. As long as it's fine on the regular videos, that's whether there's something wrong with the ads. There might be something wrong with them because it's mid-roll ads or it's midstream ads. So maybe there's a different mechanism and it was messing up or something. Twin Towers or Empire State Building more iconic? Empire State Building is. Yeah, they're going through this Texas stuff. This is a mess. This is like the political theater that's just such a joke. Like, it's so obvious they're going to redraw. Democrats are throwing a hissy fit. So they take a plane, a private jet out. It's like, okay, this is just pathetic. Do you order DoorDash? LOL. No, I don't. There's a news story floating around right now of a woman who was single-handedly running Burger King. Their staffing is so bad. You got to be worried about some of these fast food chains, the hiring process. They're hiring basically anyone. So when you're talking about meal preparation, it's something to take into account. And that's why I don't really do the fast food stuff. I mean, I Chipotle I'll do, Chick-fil-A I'll do, but other than that, I don't really do much of the fast food stuff at all. There's gotta be some concern. There's gotta be a level of concern when you look at this. They got one woman running well, I never eat Burger King. I never had Burger King as a kid either. It's been slow for news. Yeah, and really even like the weeks before that, it was just like all the Epstein shit. But it's like it's been pretty slow for that type of stuff. I mean, it's like the dog days of summer, so it's into August, so it doesn't really surprise me that it's been slower. Now it's this annoying gerrymandering thing, and you just see all these people on X. Republicans gerrymander, Democrats gerrymander, Republicans gerrymander. It's like we're just do back and forth, and they just keeps, and it's like, all right, well, watch some YouTube vids about Chinese takeout places. Yeah, I wonder how their regulations are on that. What are the is the food really bad? Culver's. Yeah, no, I agree with you. Culver's is good. Chick-fil-A is good. I never had Whataburger, In and Out. We don't have any of that. We don't have Whataburger or In and Out near us. Illinois is a red state gerrymandered by Dems. It's not a red state, man. I 100% I understand what you're saying. Most of the land is red. This and you're right. It's lighter blue. It's getting lighter blue. It's not a red state though, brother. But I agree. Like if they were to actually draw realistic districts, you could argue that the districts in some of these states, because of where the population is placed, you could argue that really it should be like 50-50 in terms of districts because all their population is within major cities. So they have to cut cities in half to satisfy two or three different districts. That's how the Democrats do it when they gerrymander. So it's like, well, that's really not what you should do with districts. You shouldn't cut a major city into fourths, but they have to do that. You've got the sub counter up. Once you reach 300k, trolls will unsubscribe if you're live. Yeah, I know, but I don't really think that's part of the fun. It's part of the fun, but you know, it'll happen either way. I guess if I'm not live, it's not gonna happen, but they cook fries, pure sugar and starch, and vegetable oils that are constantly used. Yeah, no, I agree with you. And they've actually I think it was Steak and Shake that did that. We don't even have any Steak and Shakes near us, but Steak and Shake switched. They had RFK on and they did something. Zoran was with Warren Thoughts. Yeah, I mean, it's just the cuckery to try and win an election. So now Zoran Mondani is saying, well, we need more police now. All right, man. What are the socialists? What does his fans think of that? We need a heavier police presence. Is that really what Zoran Mondani said? Seriously? I mean, it's the pandering now because he's trying to win an election, and they just had this shooting, so people are talking about it. That's what it was, beef tallow fries. Zoran should not be legally allowed to run. Or I mean, 100% I agree with you, 100%. But you know how it is with liberalism, and it's just an extension of globalism. But no, he should run, and he should tell us that the Second Amendment is terrible. It's like, dude, it's like the dude that did Jubilee. I don't remember his name. Dude's a Muslim born in the UK and telling us that we need to change the Second Amendment. Okay, man. This is just like a great summary of modern liberalism. Does Elizabeth Warren have any type of influence? You know AOC does, but there's no way Warren is relevant on the left. Yeah, I don't really think so. I don't know, though. I'm not really involved with that, so I don't know how many people look up to Elizabeth Warren, or really it kind of feels like she's just an obnoxious old woman. I don't really see her having much of an influence. She's like known and she's popular to a degree, but because when you talk about the top Democrats in Congress, people would always mention her. I'm sure it's like one of the top 5 or 6, but yeah, I don't really see how she's all that. She doesn't really seem like she moves the needle very much. But then she's sitting there with Mondani, and it's like, remember when Netanyahu said he liked Burger King more than McDonald's on the Nelk Boys podcast? Such a bad take. Yeah, people were making fun of that question that they asked. And yeah, he seems like apparently he's obsessed with Burger King. He was like, "How dare you?" But yeah, would you rather live with Jews or Muslims? What a question that is. The U.S. would thrive under fascist government. I don't know, man. Whenever you give a government that much authority, it's problematic. I mean, you could say they could get a lot done faster and swifter, and if the beliefs that you like, if those people won, then. But I mean, what if it's like a liberal version of it with socialism? I mean, it's it's a double edged sword. But I mean, the way I look at our current system, it is very challenging to do things to get a lot done within 4 years or even 8 years. Unfortunately, with Trump, it's there's not another. Even though he wasn't president last year, he can't run, you know, for re-election. Because if he could run again, there would be continuity. I'm not saying he should. I'm just saying in a general sense of trying to actually have some type of stability with these deportations and things like that. I mean, I guess Vance would continue them, but there's a building in Chicago. Yeah, I've seen similar towers that look like the Twin Towers. I've seen a few different ones. Not in real life, but in pictures. What ethnic groups are truly Americans? Well, that's the problem. I want to do a video saying, what are Americans? I've been meaning to do that. It's more of a sit down video, but I think it's a bigger problem. I've been on X and kind of seeing how some people respond to arguments and stuff, and it's interesting. A lot of the arguments revolve when it comes to mass immigration revolve around revisionist history. Basically, they'll change history to their liking and say, well, the reason that mass immigration should be accepted by the United States is because of stolen land or other people building America that were not Caucasian, and so they make up they do revisionist history to try and justify the mass immigration, and it's just so much of it is false. But a lot of people don't even know the history of U.S. demographics; they just don't. And once you do, it's pretty stark. 4 or 8 years of one administration, then flip the switch to the other. Not the most productive system, and I think it creates a machine basically, because you're going to have career politicians where the president's interchangeable, and there's a lot of continuity on both sides between each other with career politicians, and that's why people say there's a uniparty. How was your weekend? Well, the weather was great on the weekend. I'll say that the weather was really really nice. It's unfortunate. It's actually 76 degrees right now. I guess that's not too bad, but I like when it's like 72 or 73. English, Scots, yeah, just like Western Europeans, basically, is what I would say, man. That seems like a summary of what you're saying. American Eagle, you're talking about the stock? Looks like GameStop before it ran. Yeah, but GameStop ran on a premise of it basically is like a meme coin with Roaring Kitty, and there was an actual backing. I don't know if American Eagle's gonna have something like that. Do you think Vivek can win the Republican nomination in 2028? No, I don't think he can win it. I don't even think he's gonna go for it. He's running for governor of Ohio. 85 in Louisiana, sun is almost down. That's a brutal temperature. 85 at night. The Europeans that came to Americas during the age of exploration, they were the real Americans. Yeah, like what? I mean, it's Western European Caucasians basically is what it is, but they've convoluted it now, and they do they do revisionist history that's just false to try and justify it. It really is not good. You can't decide between buying a Kimber, I don't know what that is. You mean a Kindle or a new gen Xbox? I think I have the newest generation Xbox. Is it the block? That's the one that I have. Unfortunately, with the Xbox, they don't really brand well anymore. Like they don't have it's not really differentiated in between the systems. Like they have Xbox One, then they have Xbox One Series X or Series S or some shit. It's like, so I guess this is still technical. So they're still technically on the Xbox One, or is this an entirely new console? At least with the PlayStation, it's like PS4, PS5, PS6, PS7, PS8. Xbox, it's like they have the Xbox One. So they moved on from the 360. I understand that. But then they say, well, it's the Xbox One Series X. So is it still the Xbox One, just an upgraded version? It's just stupid. They do revisionist history while simultaneously clinging to America was founded by evil white men. Yeah, but the thing is, this is what I realized. Their arguments are based on fallacies. like legitimate false information, and it's pretty remarkable. You should consider a different format. Love that you are real. You can still be real while expanding. Well, I don't know what you mean by that, honestly, man. What do you want me to do? A different format? Like, listen, I try and make different videos, man. Series X and Series S, those are the new gen consoles. Yeah, that's stupid. If that really is like that, they should name it something differently entirely rather than the series. I think that's dumb. They should have just went to the Xbox 720 and then it could have been like the 1180 or I mean that would be a lot better. Do you think you can make 5 3-pointers in a row to stop Democrats winning? I could make 5 3-pointers in a row pretty well. I haven't shot in a while, but yeah, I could once if you give me like a few days to shoot, I could easily make 5 3-pointers in a row for sure. Girlfriends are a liability and depreciating asset. Spoken like a true incel. No, I'm kidding, man. Do you think the Athletics moving to Las Vegas will make it a major sports city? Well, it has to be a major sports city because look, they've already got an NHL team, they've already got an NFL team. Now they're going to get a NBA and an MLB team. So it's going to have to be. I mean, but it's a very fair weather city. I think it's just shows you how modern things are. To me, I think it's a great example of and this is the thing with capitalism that you realize when you are obsessed with money and money is the only driving factor, there are some serious negative consequences, and we're seeing it in sports. We're seeing it in sports very really in all the sports. I think all the sports have been negatively impacted by just going for money, and so capitalism has to have some significant reins. You have to rein it in to a degree to keep the product sustainable. It's very easy represented. The representation in sports is, I mean, look at all of these stadiums going up. You know how boring it's going to be when every fucking NFL stadium is 72 degrees and you can't even see the fucking sun because there's a roof over top because they wanted to host a fucking Super Bowl in 10 years. But that's what it is. Thoughts on Tucker Carlson? Personally, I'm not a fan. Yeah, I like Tucker. I was never a big fan of Tucker when he was at Fox, just because I never really watched Fox. And then I respect him for breaking some of the stuff he's broken. And, I guess he has this little issue and everyone's hating on him now. So, it's, I don't really hate Tucker or anything like that. Um, but I never was really people become fans. They're like the talk show hosts. They just like a connection. But I never really watched any of his stuff. But I do know he said some stuff that's important, and even at the Charlie Kirk event, he was saying some stuff that was he's kind of shifting into more right wing, and yeah, now Elizabeth Warren is with Mondani. But like this all this news is like Eagles gonna win it again. It's very hard to. I know the Chiefs did it. I don't know, man. I'm always wary of repeats. Everyone says the repeat's gonna happen because the team just won, but I don't think so, man. coming down to Cincinnati this weekend for the first time, you will not be walking downtown after dark. You know, Cincinnati is very hot. It's very hot, Cincy, because people don't realize how south Cincy is. It's basically in Kentucky, Cincinnati. So just be prepared. It's going to be hot, I'm sure. And yeah, they deal with that issue. I mean, you know, did you see what they said about that? And this is what I projected. They're like, well, he said the N-word, so it justifies the beating. Oh my! And that's what that woman, the police chief, I think that's what she was insinuating, because she was trying to tell the media, you don't know what led up to that. Is like she was trying to say it was justified. And so apparently saying the N-word is justification for getting knocked out, and then a woman tries to defend, and then she gets knocked out by a dude. I mean, it's just Neanderthal behavior. And that police chief is going to say, well, they said words, and that justifies it. You stupid bitch. Do you believe that there will be inflation from the tariffs in 6 months or less? Well, it's hard to say, because Trump puts tariffs on, he takes them off, he puts them on, he takes them off. If everything stays on, I don't think there's going to be any inflation that's going to be too crazy. I think Democrats, if there's any, they're going to jump on it and try and use it, but it's not going to be like 4% or anything like that. They're going to have it tamed to a degree. And it's just, listen, if inflation happens because we're onshoring jobs, I mean, there's a cost benefit. Tucker never thought the election was stolen. Well, they had that lawsuit. Dominion sued the hell out of Fox News for that. That was a really weird time. That entire thing. I'm glad I was not on YouTube during that. And same thing with COVID. Could you imagine we have another one of those situations? Because some of the people were just making normal right-wing statements, and they got banned from platforms for doing that. Like really mainstream right-wing statements they would make. But there was a real big problem with Fox News getting sued for a lot of money by Dominion, the voting machine thing. This year it's going to be the Cowboys or the Bills. I could see the Bills, but the Cowboys, no. No, the Cowboys are just, they really got to move on from Dak Prescott. I mean, how many years do you give a quarterback? It's like, he's a good quarterback, I guess, but they're in this weird purgatory, the Cowboys are, because they've got a good quarterback, but he's not good enough. You see Mike Johnson kiss the wall, the Wailing Wall. Yeah, he took a trip to Israel. I saw that. I saw that yesterday. He said it was very important. You see, Sarah Huckabee Sanders went as well. I don't know if anyone else went. Randy Fine went. Now you see the Trisha lady say the DACA recipients should self-deport like the others. They were either infants or little kids. Well, then how is that even possible? Where's the rest of their family? 2021 was hell on earth. Yeah, because it was still the restrictions and everything. That stuff with COVID and the restrictions. I mean, that's as dystopian as you can get. And people said they enjoyed that. And I guess to a degree, if you're constantly working with other people and you finally get to be alone, I could understand people saying they enjoyed that. But that's a very, very bad way to live around, to have like you think humans are enemies because they have viruses. It's a terrible, terrible thing for society when that was happening. It's just a bunch of super athletic guys with huge egos. The players have no loyalty to the cities. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a case-by-case basis, but it's a job. So they're not really going to have a ton of loyalty. Now, they're going to try and get along with the fans because they want endorsements and all this stuff. But it's also a thing to where you really get sick and tired of especially MLB players. I mean, also NBA, I'm sure is bad, and with everything, they're probably all terrible. They're all divas. But MLB with the lockouts and these players, and you see Bryce Harper bitching at the commissioner and Manfred, and I know people hate Manfred, but it's like, dude, really? We're gonna sit here and you guys are we're gonna have a lockout for a year because you're bitching about, oh, we can't have a salary cap. We're the only sport that doesn't have a salary cap. Heaven forbid one of our players can't get like a $5 billion contract. Like, dude, seriously. And then you know what it is. You can't be on the owner's side because then they're like, well, you're the ultimate cuck. Why would you simp for $1 billion owners? It's like, bro, give me a break with these players being like, how dare you make us have a salary cap? There should be a salary cap and a salary floor and end it and play the season. Like, it's that simple. That's a compromise by both sides. So did Silverstein know 9/11 was coming? Well, if you read a lot with Silverstein, it's pretty revealing if you read on Silverstein. In the summer of 2020, your girlfriend at the time, now wife, and you moved from California to Utah to escape California COVID lockdowns and restrictions. They wouldn't let people go outside. Yeah, that was insane, and that's modern liberalism. See, it turns into this government totalitarian, and it's interesting because they always talk about fascism, but then they act like fascists during this period. Remember, they wanted the government shut down for like many months and then blame Trump for people dying. I remember that. Did you see Trump back down from refusing aid to cities and states that boycotted Israel? Yeah, I saw something about that. I would have to, I don't know about that, man. Honestly, Trump said, he got some heat, and so he backed down. I think, I don't know. So there's always, it's always with Trump and Israel. It's always, I just try and avoid it. Isn't the luxury tax supposed to be a soft cap? Yeah, but look at what the Dodgers do. See, I think it's probably going to be, they're going to have to restructure everything. The Dodgers are paying Shohei Ohtani. There's no cap. But you are right, because once you get to the higher earnings, you get taxed more, so it's less. But some of these owners don't care. Like Cohen of the Mets doesn't care. The Dodgers don't care. But when you look at the Ohtani contract, it's $2 million per year, and it's all deferred. That's not allowed. I'm sorry. That's just a complete lack of integrity for the entire structure. You're paying the best player, supposedly one of the best players of all time, $2 million during his prime years. This is a joke. Because all the money's deferred. How is that allowed? And they can do it because they have so much money. The Dodgers. You got back from sushi. Yeah, I mean, sushi is like the really expensive high up sushi is good. The rolls and stuff. I think everyone likes that type of stuff because they put a bunch of sauces on it and things like that. Was there a koi pond where you went with the sushi? It's always koi ponds. You go to those restaurants. Did you see Fuentes' response to Tucker? Yeah, I saw that. It was all over and everything, and it's I feel bad for Tucker, but I mean, I guess they're ripping into him. Gave good evidence. Tucker is CIA. Yeah, I don't know, man. You got to feel bad for Tucker, honestly, but maybe he is. Who knows? No koi pond. Dude, I can't even fucking snap anymore. It's gonna snap in frustration. Thoughts on Tulsi? I really don't have any thoughts about her. There's really not much going on about with Tulsi. Oh, I guess she's doing all the investigations. But what are those investigations really going to entail? Like, what are they going to produce? What are they going to produce? Are they going to produce talking points for us? Maybe I should try and look for some talking points, I guess. Because if you find I could probably find some good talking points about, Obama colluding with them, but Obama will never go to prison. Why would you feel bad for Tucker? He started some random beef, then got exposed. Uh, I mean, did he really start anything? I don't think he really started anything, honestly. But he said something about Fuentes, and he said he was a Mexican or something. I mean, I guess even Putin called him out for trying to apply to the CIA when Tucker interviewed him years ago. Yeah, no, I do remember that, and that interview was a little bit rough for Tucker. But I think people were a little bit hard on him. You really can't interview someone with hard hitting questions when there's a language barrier. People don't realize that. And then when Putin hijacks the entire conversation, you're listening to him through a fucking translator. It's not even the same voice. Dude, that's brutal. People kept saying he cucked to Putin, but it's like, it's kind of impossible if he's going to control the conversation in a fucking different language. He did call Fuentes some gay kid in his basement. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's bad. I don't know. Ohio's been good. Yeah, you got great weather this weekend with Ohio, man. You really did. You got some good weather. I mean, the Guardians, they had a good series. They won some games. They won 2 out of 3. He was making fun of him for being in his basement. Yeah, but isn't Fuentes a millionaire? Why would he be in his basement? Don't understand the gay kid thing. Yeah, I don't really get that. I think that's a rumor that he's gay or maybe bisexual, but I don't know. How's Clyde doing? Clyde's doing very well. A lot of sleeping. A lot of sleeping. Went to Kings Island on Friday. Dude, whenever you go to one, I mean, but Friday night, I'm sure. How busy was it during the summer? Cedar Point on a weekend. Oh, dude, you don't even want to try it unless you have one of the fast pass. You can buy a fast pass, but you don't want to try Cedar Point on a weekend during the summer. Maybe when it first opens or when it's about to close. Maybe then. Do you see the Rockies comeback versus the Pirates? So, no, I saw that it was a very high scoring game. I didn't know it was a massive comeback. Yeah, dude. Was it at Coors Field? Yeah, dude. But Coors Field, the problem with it is the Rockies are never going to be good because of that altitude. The altitude really messes with you. It's not really good for an MLB team to be there. Honestly, it just it was too fucking busy. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. That's pretty typical. Have you heard about American Eagle stock? People saying it's set up to be game. Someone else just said, and that wasn't you. Someone else said that in the stream. Someone said that exact same thing you just said. Not word for word. What? And the catalyst. Well, there's probably a meme coin based off of it. You go to get the meme coin. American Eagle 6900. No, no. There was videos of streamer Destiny having sex with many influencers, including Fuentes. When, yeah, I gotta be honest, that's actually not true. But Destiny is bisexual. I don't think Fuentes. I don't know if Fuentes is or not. But that I didn't think. I don't think that's actually real. It was rumored though, but I don't think it's real. You think Palantir is worth investing into? No, I mean I don't think so. At this point, it's. I would have to look at its chart, but I mean, what's its market cap at this point? It's probably pretty high considering the notoriety it has. I mean, it's probably already ran pretty. Big money is trying to kill all these companies like GameStop and American Eagle. You're glad the stock is running. If it, yeah, but I mean, I wonder if it has anything to maybe the jeans commercial as a catalyst for it to run American Eagle stock. It's been a week or two since I made it to one of your streams. Good to see you. Yeah, I haven't streamed a lot recently. Anything on Rapid? I'm sure there's a lot of stuff on Rapid, but it's all the same shit that we see all the time. If there's not a lot of big news, I mean, we're gonna get a bunch of just propaganda shit that's boring. So I'm sure there's stuff on there, but it's like, is there a point to viewing it? Palantir went from $80 to 170. I know, but what's its market cap? Israel it needs to take over Gaza and end this. You know, I heard a report that Trump was going to allow them to annex areas. I don't know if it was Gaza or not. Um, I think that's always been Israel's plan. I mean, they've utterly obliterated the strip, the entirety of the strip. So what? They're going to either take it over or it's going to have to be. It's not livable. I don't think it's livable. Do a video on Trump's 2000 campaign. That's a good idea actually. People barely anyone knows that even exists. Trump's 2000 campaign. And that would be good for me because I would learn about it as well. Is alt season delayed or just about to start? Well, I mean, the actual alt season doesn't happen until after the BTC top. So it wouldn't really be delayed if the context is that. But even if you look at the top indicators, it's mid-September to mid-October. So the alt season would happen after that. I'm talking about BTC's top. If BTC's top is in mid-October, the alt season will happen around Thanksgiving. I've been watching The Social Network. What a movie. Amazing. I gotta find the full movie. I was like, dude, I have this subscription to fucking YouTube or whatever. They give me movies, but the movie costs more money. How does that even work? I have a subscription. It's like $6 or $10. You can't allow me to watch the movie. I don't want to pirate the movie off of because then the HD quality is gone. I want to watch The Social Network, the full movie. You know, it would be a good video idea. Yeah, dude, you know how important like the ideas are. You could make like a crazy, amazingly researched video, but if the idea falls flat, the video was not going to do well. But then if you have a really amazing idea and the video is kind of like iffy, it'll still do really well. Sam, thank you for the donation. If DG has a million fans, then I'm one of them. If DG has 100 fans, then I am one of them. If DG has one fan, then I am that one. If DG has no fans, that means I'm no longer on this earth. Yeah, I've heard that. Not for me personally, but I know that saying, so I appreciate that. When is a social network 2 coming? Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. Social network 2. That's coming in like around late 2026, and maybe they do Alien Awakening, and they do Interstellar 2. And so that's going to be great if they end up doing those movies. Palantir's only client up until 2008 was the CIA, went public in 2020. Yeah, it's very suspicious. Well, but Palantir, think about it. Palantir is a data optimization conglomerate. So they take large sets of data and they optimize them in a way that's digestible. So I don't really think that Palantir would be able to they're not really in the market of being able to acquire a ton of information on individuals. Do you think the Ukraine war will end before Trump's second term? Yeah, that's a good question at this point. It doesn't seem like we're anywhere close to it ending. It's hard to say. I do think it will, just based off of at a certain point, there's going to be they're going to get tired. They're going to lose men. Ukraine's going to lose men. There's going to have to be something done. So something's going to have to break. I mean, that's another 3.5 years. I think it gets done before then. The question is, will it get done before midterms? Now that's a very real question. It's probably not going to, because the midterms coming up in a little over a year. Ever consider getting a Nintendo Switch 2? Not right now, no. Not right now. I wouldn't really consider getting one. Yeah, everyone's talking about this. What did it boom like 30-40%? 2.3 billion. Now it's not the same setup as GameStop. GameStop was like bottomed out, but that was during COVID when that coin was bottomed out though. Texas situation. Yeah, I discussed the Texas situation. How would you survive 9/11 if you were above the impact point? Well, if you're in the South Tower, you take the stairwell B. North Tower, it's you'd have to get creative. You're depressed seeing our government occupied by Israel. Yeah, I mean I just don't I mean it's whatever, dude, at this point. I mean people keep saying it. It's like, all right, what do you want me to do about it? They just keep, I just rather be positive, but are you a fan of a specific baseball team? Yeah, the Guardians, even though we're not the Guardians are a joke at this point, dude. It's really not good. Charlie Kirk on South Park is lame. Yeah, I think Charlie Kirk did a good thing. He embraced it. He laughed at himself. He changed his profile picture and said, "Fuck you. I don't care. You're gonna have a caricature of me. Who cares? Fucking give a shit about. It's irrelevant. South Park stuff is like it doesn't even. People were really angry at me. I was like, you know, the South Park thing is slop. It's bad. And then there's all these people in the comments. I'm like, dude, trust me. I watched the South Park thing on stream, and I was like, this doesn't even make sense. And people were like, oh, it's the funniest thing ever. And even conservatives were cucking. They were like, oh, conservatives have to admit that this is funny. It's really not funny. It's not funny. If it was funny, it would be funny. It just wasn't funny. Yeah, the Indians were better because they weren't like this little bitch team that they are now. Now they're like the little engine that could, and it's just like not. Could have used a parachute. Yeah, but nobody's got a parachute. You're not gonna have a parachute. It's not the only like that. That's not the only way you could maybe do it is by climbing down the outer wall. But that's it's just basically impossible unless there's you somehow climb low enough and there's a broken window. And believe it or not, there almost was for somebody, but. Cleveland Indians should have beaten the Cubs in the World Series. Yeah, they were actually better than the Cubs. You are right on that. They were up 3-1 in that series, and they had injuries to their starting pitchers. That's the only reason they lost. But nobody even cares because they're like, oh, the Cubs finally won. But they don't remember that well, they do remember it because they say it was a 3-1 comeback. But yeah, that's actually true. The Indians, because they were the Indians in 2016, I thought they were for sure going to win because, I mean, they were just a better team. But the Cubs people don't want to admit that. They're like, oh, but look at the Cubs. Remember the Cubs when they were supposedly supposed to be good? None of those players are any good anymore. They're all shit. The only player that turned out good was Kyle Schwarber. The rest of them all suck. Javier Baez, Chris Bryant. I think their pitching staff is retired. The pitching staff might not have been might have been pretty good, but all their position players were just. I guess Rizzo had a decent career, but you remember you mentioned in like every 9/11 video possibly someone riding down the North Tower antenna. Yeah, it's not feasible. The antenna actually broke off too. It broke off, so it wouldn't have been. The one guy shimmied down the tower 40 floors. No, it was about 15 floors or 10 floors. It wasn't. It was definitely not 40. But yeah, he was someone that was the only one that we know of that tried to do that. Didn't a couple of the dancing Israeli guys go on Israeli talk show and state that they were Mossad agents? Yeah, they did do that. Bryant wasted his career in Colorado. Yeah, that is true. But I mean, how do you fall off that much? I mean, in Colorado, you'd think it's a decent hitting environment, but he just gets injured every game now. So, but how do you fall off to that point where would you ever climb Mount Everest or K2? It does seem pretty. You know, Mount Everest. There's a lot of stories about how there's all this trash on Mount Everest, and it's like this tourist, and everybody does it. I mean, isn't K2 harder to climb, even though it's a lower elevation? K2 is like a lot harder to climb, but Mount Everest is a weird situation because there's so much trash. And I don't know about the breathing situation, man. That would be pretty challenging. I remember going to Denver. I went to Denver and I was, you know, dealing with the thin air for a little bit. You have to acclimate to it, and I'm sure it's way worse with Everest. You got to use like oxygen tanks. Lots of dead bodies on Everest. I mean, yeah, you can't carry them down. You don't have the energy to do that. You're not bringing them down. And what they do, there's no form of disintegration. It's too cold. K2 is very technical. That is if that's true, that's insane. That's it's so people that try and climb it, there's a 30% death rate. I mean, well, it seems like it's probably close to pretty much unless you're like a really expert climber. 30% death rate. And again, that's probably experts that are doing that. So for a normal person, it's probably about a 95% death rate. Is America still producing pennies? I thought there's an executive order that they're done with pennies. The penny doesn't make much sense nowadays. I know people are angry about it, but yeah, the penny doesn't make sense because it cost. They say it costs around 3 cents to make, and so it just doesn't make sense to keep it. I mean, it's part of the government efficiency program. They're cutting down on that. It just doesn't make a lot of sense in the modern times with really also how much everything costs. I mean, what is a penny going to do? How will you get your change back though if you're supposed to get 57 cents back? Well, a lot of it's going to be, I mean, through credit, and also they'll just round it. They'll round it. 50 to 100K to remove a body from Everest. Yeah. So if somebody dies and you want their body, that's what it's going to cost to get it. You think we will normalize using USDC or yeah? I mean, it's just a digital dollar. That's not. There's really nothing. It's literally a credit card basically. That's what USDC is. So and now it's backed. They've got the Stablecoin Act to where it's backed by physical fiat. So I think it'll be normalized for sure. But I don't even think that's a big. Again, we use credit cards all the time. Sure, it's fiat and you're changing it to crypto technically, but it's a dollar. You would be fine if they got rid of a nickel or a dime. I think it comes down to the fact that it costs around 3.5 cents to make 1 penny. That's the problem. I guess they could more efficiently do it, but maybe make it cost less. Mm.
The potential of a clean, long-term power source on the Moon. Reliably, flexibly, and sustainably supporting a range of operational demands.
Biodome?
Providing power and heat output as required. Powering new journeys, new connections, new understandings, new discovery. Rolls-Royce Micro Reactor. The power to explore.
That's Griffin Station. They're actually trying to do a Griffin Station. Wow. No, it doesn't even look like it. They need to have a big biodome. You think they could do a biodome like in Black Ops 1 and have an actual base with gravity? You're from Colorado, and one of your pet peeves was when sports announcers talk about altitude advantage, but they're pro athletes. Nah, but dude, that seriously is the thing with altitude. It does mess with the players. Like, the altitude is really, it's not conducive to good baseball. Because players also, when they, and originally I thought it was a joke too, but it messes with you when you're in the altitude and the way the pitches move, and then when you leave the high altitude. Again, really, I mean, obviously Colorado, Denver's a huge city, so they're going to keep their team, but it's not a really good environment for baseball with the altitude like that. It's really not. And Colorado's had a very hard time fielding a successful team. They had a run to the World Series, but that was like 2007. Wow. Wow, they actually did have that. That's the altitude and dryness really melt. Yeah, it's very thin air, man. It's very thin air. When you land into Colorado, it's tough. You have to get acclimated to it. We went to a grocery store. This was back in like 2012 when I went skiing in Colorado. We went to a grocery store and I was like out of breath. Are we still going to the moon next year or in 27? You heard? Really? I don't know. They always say they're gonna go, but then it's like they never. So it's gonna be headed by SpaceX or NASA. They really should go back to the moon because a lot of people say we don't have the technology now because we faked it. Why does football do better in Colorado? Well, I mean, it's different, but it's also tough and for football for everything. I mean, they're using oxygen masks when they're in Colorado. The opposing team, even the home teams, use oxygen masks because of the air. You mix booze with altitude. Yeah, that could be a go on one of those. One of the cool things with skiing is they'll have like the mountaintop restaurants. It's always fun to do that because it's like you're surrounded by hills and you're still on top of a hill. Like you're not at the bottom of the hills and you have to sit down for dinner or something. It's a fun thing to do. We're going to Mars in 2020. No, it wouldn't be 2029. It's when I think it'd be 2033 is when we could go. It's based on the alignment of Mars and Earth and making it as close as possible for the astronauts. The orbital rotation of the two have to be aligned in a way that it's like 2031 or 2033 or around there. You saw the buy the dip tweet. Yeah, yeah, it's that's true, man. Trump withholding funds to non-Israel states looks bad. Yeah, I think that might have been maybe a miscommunication or something. I don't know, man. I mean, the Israel stuff, it's constant, and people just keep criticizing Trump. The computers of the Saturn V rocket in 1969 had the equivalent power of a modern calculator, right? I mean, but it shouldn't really surprise us. But then it's like, shouldn't it? I mean, look, I understand it's like a resource thing. Is there really any reason to go back? But it is kind of eyebrow raising. Like, you think we would go back? It's the fucking moon. Isn't it kind of cool to go there a few times a decade? We need a Clyde cameo, bro. Yeah, I'll get Clyde on one of these times. Israel apparently has approved taking Gaza. Well, I mean, I'm sure Israel wants to take Gaza. The question is nobody else wants them to outside of maybe Trump. So if Trump gives them the go ahead, then you have to wonder. Yeah, Mr. Beast has this thing. This has been trending. This Team Water thing. Feels like the markets are overbought. Not the crypto markets. Not the crypto markets. You mean the stock market? Because it's at what, all-time highs? I mean, it's always going to feel like it's overbought when it's at all-time highs. Musk donated Trump's super PAC in June while publicly feuding with him. That makes sense. 0% value in stocks right now. Well, yeah, if they're at their all-time highs, there's not going to be a ton of value. But I mean, that's what stocks do. They keep going up. That's what U.S. stocks do. At least by and large, the indexes. You wonder if Trump converted to Judaism sometime in his first term. He's not very religious, man. He's really not religious. I don't see it. I know people keep saying that, but there was a rumor. The whale enters. Sean, what's up, man? Mr. Beast should help poor white Americans instead of Africans. Yeah, that's always the thing that he does. It's like these the water initiatives and residential buildings for them. I know he's built a lot of that. You have to be honest. If the Epstein files aren't fully exposed, you're convinced Israel has bad dirt on Trump, and we may see a second French Revolution. Yeah, I think it's very obvious there's something behind the scenes probably with. But I mean, who knows? Trump's a boomer. You don't know. Maybe he just really supports Israel, but it does seem like there could be some blackmail there for sure. That's one of the things I've speculated, and but it's like how much of the stuff is not known at this point with Trump. I mean, he's been vetted so many times. You also have to think like that. It's like, is there really anything there? Yeah, that's what these people don't understand. You're 100% right. He's politically religious. Yeah, it's the correct take. There was really funny comments, like people asking. Yeah, I saw those comments, dude. I mean, but I'm not gonna get into that. Did you see that? Did you see that Ghislaine Maxwell was moved to a minimum security prison? I know. How about that, dude? They're already starting to appease her and live. She's living more comfortably now. The whole thing just reeks. Do you believe this statistician that Trump fired really skewed numbers? Yeah, I don't really know about that. I mean, I think that probably doesn't look too good for Trump, if I'm being honest. I'm not exactly. But the thing is, what I've heard with a lot of those numbers is there's a lot of, they're trimming a lot of fat out of the government. So there's a lot of people losing their jobs within the government that never should have had jobs in the first place. So the unemployment numbers may go up because of that. But I mean, this is what I think. The way I see it, now listen, I'm not blaming the statistician, and I don't know the exact process. And they say, well, they update the numbers and the numbers change. But I mean, that is a drastic difference. Shouldn't that? I mean, I would fire them because of how it's like. Why are you giving me this report on these numbers, and then in a month later you're saying, oh wait, we only added 1% or 5% of the ones that I had previously. How are you that far off? And then they try and defend it. They're like, well, because they get more numbers over time. But in the year 2025, can't we more accurately predict based on a number of indicators the job growth or the creation to where it's like not 95% off of the actual numbers? So it's like if you're 95% wrong, you're going to get fucking fired. But then they made it this whole thing like, well, Trump's a dictator because he didn't get good numbers, so he fired the person for giving him. It's like, well, the person's 95% off. So you're going to get fucking fired for being 95% off. And then they're like, well, we haven't gotten all the numbers. Well, then why did you report the initial numbers and say that we had gained this many jobs? Can't there be a better way to do that? Listen, you're 95% wrong. You're going to be fucking fired. Instead of revising the numbers, why don't they just wait to release the real numbers? No, I agree. Or at least have a more accurate initial number read. But they're going to have to do something different because those unemployment numbers impact whether or not they cut rates. But now, honestly, it shouldn't matter because technically they could do an emergency cut. Because of these new revised numbers, they're not going to do it, though. But they could. So it really shouldn't matter. She wasn't wrong, though. Well, no. Dude. Think about it. She was 95% wrong. Now, you can hide behind, well, we don't have the full data set. Then, bitch, why did you give us an initial reading that said we gained X amount of jobs and now it's 95% off? You said she wasn't wrong. No, she was 95% wrong. Or whatever it is. But I'm just saying, you know what? Maybe I'll do a video on that so people understand what that is. Honestly, I haven't even looked into it. I was just kind of skimming through it a little bit. This lady was 95% wrong from what I understand. And then she hides behind, well, we didn't have the full data. Well, you're giving us useless information then, honey. Useless. Completely useless. If it's going to be 95% off on the actual jobs reading. Caitlin Collins was so arrogant. Yeah, the CNN, they're trying to make her a star on CNN. I know who you're talking about. You like Caitlin Collins? You well, yeah. Remember that Scott Jennings is that you can't have Caitlin Collins. Scott Jennings is dating her. It's a nice relationship. She was like the lady from Iowa that had Harris up by 7. Yeah, right. It's like, from what I see, if your numbers are that wrong, you're gonna be fired. But then they try and make her the victim, and Trump's like this evil. But I mean, there's always these people, dude. It's like I can't escape them in the chat. She would be hot if she got a nose job. It feels like if women have any type of issue with their nose, so I respect her for not getting one if that's she hasn't gotten one. But if women have any type of issue, they get a nose job. Katie Tur, yeah, I know who you're talking about. She did that interview with Trump in 2016 when she really messed up, but she was attractive for sure. Is Sydney Sweeney gonna face backlash? No, not really in 2025. Not in 2025. I mean, there'll be people that are alienated by the fact that she's a Republican, but it's really irrelevant. Try getting it out. Yeah, that was the one. A lot of Mar-a-Lago chicks with the lip injections. Oh yeah, the lip filler. The lip filler is brutal. I mean, if you're gonna do it and you're a woman, it needs to be subtle. It's bad because it's very noticeable. Cost of a nose job can vary significantly, but generally a range is around 5,000 to 20K. Yeah, I mean that makes sense. It's a cosmetic thing. What are we gonna do about Trump cutting off disaster aid to cities? That he rescinded that. That's not gonna be happening. That got rescinded. Um, yeah, did you? I've seen that statistic too about them getting 17 Marshall plans. Yeah, I mean, we don't have to go into the specifics on the reasons for that, but check Palantir. Well, I know Palantir is what is Palantir at? $379 billion. So I guess it can still do like a 7 or 8x to a few trillion. Man, how much inside trading do you think was involved within the government with people buying it here? Imagine how many more jumpers there would be on 9/11 if Flight 175 destroyed all the stairs. Well, I don't know if there would be a ton more because there's not a lot of people that escaped via that stairwell, anyways. Because the South Tower fell so quickly. Your 9/11 video got lots of views. I know people, they always tell me that. The 9/11 videos do better than my other videos, I know. You still make fun of your boomer stock. Well, I mean, when did you buy it? I'll tell you, if you bought it when it was around $7 or $8, congratulations. I mean, you're probably buying it when it's at like, $88. You get a 2x and you get excited. American Eagle status set for a massive short squeeze. Yeah, I mean, there's been like 3 people that have said that now. I know. I wonder if this. Well, there's not even an American Eagle meme. There's not even an American Eagle meme coin. Yeah, my coins are doing pretty well. Pretty healthy retracements, I would say. Pretty healthy retracement. Zero immigrants have entered the country. She knows 4 illegals. Come on, bitch, shut up. $70 average, but at least it's stable profit. Well, dude, I mean, listen, congratulations. You do have stable profit. I'll give you that. But the problem is you're not rich, so it's going to be very hard to make a huge multiple off of that. You have to make a huge multiple. That's the problem. Sigma coin. Yeah, I've seen that. I don't know where it is right now. I'm not invested into it. First net negative migration in 60. Yeah, did you see that? That's pretty amazing. That's the thing. I was like, I want to do a better video to be able to do more positive news. So I had seen that, and I'll also do a video on the census, and just it's pretty crazy with what happened with that. As far as I know, it was miscounted very badly. Why do I have a hand ache? My hand hurts. What do you think of Colbert, Stephen Colbert, and Jon Stewart being Democrat choices? No, it's not gonna happen. I don't think it's gonna happen, man. Um, neither one. The Democrats are just a lost cause. Well, they're just a lost party. They need someone to come out of the shadows, but they do need someone that's like a white dude. Let's be honest. You see, Lord Miles is about to try and survive 40 days in the desert with no water. That's impossible. Unless he's getting some other form of hydration. How's your sleep schedule? It's getting worse again. I'm just gotta fix it. I'm going to sleep at 2 or 3. How is Sydney Sweeney getting canceled for wearing pants but not getting canceled for making a bath water soap? Yeah, that's weird. That is a weird thing. It's impossible that 0 illegals have entered the border. It's too big. They still send. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's a net number. I don't know. Maybe it's a combination, but the number is very low. That's the point. You know, they're probably not reporting it accurately, but I'm sure it's very low. Net negative migrant. I know. Think about that. Think about hearing that. That is pretty crazy. That means there's more people leaving than coming in. When's the last time? I don't even know the last time. They said it's been at least 50 years, so I'm not sure if they really reported it much to have an exact. The horror epidemic must be stopped. You see what happened with Lil Tay? I'm not sure who that is, and judging from the name, I don't really. What was it? The 18-year-old girl you're talking about? They need to get rid of OnlyFans. I think that's the best scenario. That would be the best scenario if they did that. I know it's like, well, but I'm not a libertarian, so I think that's something they should restrict. But free speech is dead in the UK. Well, this is very concerning. What about what YouTube is doing? Dude, YouTube is doing this thing where they're like, "Hey, so we're just going to introduce something where we have an AI system that can somehow track if you're under the age of 18." What? Is that not a bit ridiculous? Like they're like, "Yeah, we just announced it." They're starting to really ramp up all of this stuff. I mean, in the UK they have already done it, but all of this digital ID is being ramped up now. And a lot of YouTubers are talking about it. I mean, this is very strange what they're doing with YouTube, and people are saying it's not going to last. What do you think of the Kids Online Safety Act? It's terrible. And think about how it's hidden. Well, the Patriot Act. The Patriot Act sounds really good, doesn't it? Kids Online Safety Act. What a honk of fucking bullshit. There's no way people are falling for that. Yeah, remember, it's for your safety. We just need all your information. For your safety. But I mean, it's already going to happen, so it's like, do you fight it? But you can see it from a mile away. The UK averages 33 arrests per day for online speech. That seems preposterous. 33 arrests for online speech. And Starmer tried saying they valued free speech. They obviously don't. That's the number one most important area of free speech now is the internet. That is the public square, as people say. The owner of OF has been the largest donor to AIPAC. Dude, I get it with Israel, but it's just like, you know. Parents need to, yeah, it should be the parents. But this is what YouTube is doing is really bad. How are you going? So you're going to use information. You're going to be able to access people's information to be able to find out if someone might be under 18. They say based on their watch history. Come on, man. We're not headed in a good spot. Like the way that it should work when it comes to curating young kids, what it should be is a cultural thing. Basically, it should be frowned upon. The parents should, and this is the issue. All the kids are getting phones at 7 or 8 because it's very easy for the parents to have the phones babysit the children. So now all the kids have the phones, and even the parents that don't give the kids a phone, the kids are seen as losers because all their other friends have phones and they're texting each other, and the kid feels left out, and so he has to get a phone, so it snowballs. There has to be a culture where it's looked down upon to give your kid a phone at the age of 8 or 9. That's really what it has to be. When you introduce all this other shit that's more based around just pure censorship, it's not based around an online safety act for children. This is the same thing that happened to the UK. They said it was an online act for children. Conservatives introduced it, and then the Labour Party enacted it, and they changed it, and now it's apparently about all parties, all ages, policing speech on the internet. So this is not good. Will you do any college football preview videos? Maybe when the AP poll comes out, which I think is in a week, maybe then. I'm going to be pretty angry if they put Penn State at number 1, honestly. I don't think Penn State deserves to be number 1. Like, I'm sorry. I get it's a new season, and, well, we have to judge it based off of the returning talent. You can't put them at number 1. They need to win a big game. I'm sorry. Or they need to get there after Ohio State or Texas loses. They really should make Ohio State versus Texas not 1v2. We don't need Penn State, who can't win a big game, at number 1 to start the season. They should really just put Ohio State and Texas at number 1 and number 2. That's what I want to see. ChatGPT or Grok? I think GPT is better. What's your take on Bristol Classic? I thought it was a cool idea. It's unfortunate with the rain. I thought it was a cool idea. I think they should do something like that. I like when they have events at exotic places, and again, it's unfortunate with the rain and people were making fun of it, but Big Ten is the trash, easy schedules. No, easiest schedules. Big Ten's the second hardest conference, but the easiest schedules are in the ACC. Do you play any fantasy? Not anymore, no. Go back. They should. Yeah, that is crazy, dude. How wouldn't they do more Field of Dreams games? Those games were really good. Those games were very good. You know what it is, because they don't get any revenue. How they get no revenue from it? Does it really matter that much? You know, because there's very little crowds. There's no seating. Usually don't watch your stadium videos, but really enjoy your Candlestick Park death video. Yeah, I think that video is actually going to do well in the algorithm. We'll have to see. It's a slow burn. It's a slow burn video. Joe, thank you, man. I appreciate it. What's your overall take on NIL? I think it's terrible. It's out of control. There's no actual governance. The teams can just blatantly cheat. If is it even cheating? We don't know. The kids go to 5 different schools. They can transfer unlimited times. The people that give out the contracts break their promises. It's horrible. There's nothing good about it, and it's completely botched. And there's no any leadership within the NCAA. There's no board. The the NCAA is seen as a joke at this point. There needs to be a separate. I mean, but even college basketball is dealing with the same issues to a degree. So, and now they've got the 14-team playoff or whatever. I think it's a 12-team playoff. It's going to expand to the 14-team playoff, and you'd love to be a Wrigleyville window repair guy. Yeah, but dude, did you see that it got announced? That's going to be a lockout. I think they're going to, Wrigley's going to have to wait longer. I highly doubt there's going to be an all-star game in 27. Maybe I'll be wrong. I don't know. Do you think the immigration to Europe will ever stop? You would think it would have stopped after the sexual assaults that were reported by the Muslim gangs. I mean, you'd think they would deport all the I mean, you think they would say, all right, it's done. But, I mean, it's insane. It's just the liberalism. Liberalism really does destroy countries. Like, literally destroys countries. And we're seeing it happen in Western Europe, unfortunately. And, of course, it's a slow. It takes time for it to happen. It doesn't happen overnight. But if they continue this, I mean, this is not going to end well for those countries. And you have to wonder, I mean, it's like, these are supposedly smart people. It's like, do you not see this is very problematic, you importing these type of people into this country? Do you not see the problem culturally with this? I mean, this is a very simple concept. Well, you're racist for admitting it. Okay. When was your last goon says she made it 9 hours? 9 hours, man. Come on, man. 9 hours. Nah, no. It's been at least a day. Suicidal empathy or planned destruction. Yeah. Suicidal empathy is a good saying. Europe birth rates are birth rates are not only a problem for Europe, they're a problem for pretty much every first world country right now. The question is do you replenish the birth rate issue with immigrants? If you do, you're going to exacerbate the change in demographics. The birth rates are a problem everywhere, man, in all the first world countries. Just say white. Well, how about East Asia? What about South Korea, Japan, China? They all have the same problem. Feminism is the root of the problem. I mean, it's a compound thing. It's a contributor. It's a contributor. There's a lot of but feminism is really a double-edged thing, because a lot of those women vote for this immigration policy. So you're right. It kind of is and they also don't want to have kids because they want to have their own career. You streaming till 10? I don't know how long I'll be streaming, honestly, man. There's really not a lot of news to talk about. DG2. Nice. I like it. What even is that profile? You like got me in pink or something. It's like a one of those color edited infrared. It's like an infrared profile. They also told us we'd be out of oil by 1990. Well, they also said, global warming was going to destroy the planet. But I mean, at a certain point, you do see the numbers. The numbers in terms of this issue we have with birth rate and immigration is very stark. It's very, very stark. Pat, yeah. DG2 will never go anywhere unless my main channel takes off, and then people decide to subscribe to my secondary channel. That would be the only way it takes off. But it doesn't even. And then I would just upload, little clips to it. How about Abbott ordering the Dem congressman who fled Texas to Illinois to return to fulfill? Yeah, I don't even get it. Like, what is going on there? They're bitching about the redistricting that's happening. So these people take a private jet to Illinois. Like, this is the political theater that's just a joke. You think my subscribers have gone down? You're full of shit. No, you're wrong. I was at like 30, 36, bro. Now I'm at 64. I'm at like 64 now. So you would be wrong. I get those subscribers from the 9/11 video. So read it and weep. Main reason you support Trump? Just Trump is a lot more in line with my the way I want the country to be aligned in the future rather than Democrats. A lot of it is immigration based. Because the parties share some. Well, I mean, I guess liberals might be getting more socialist, but in general, they're both capitalist. And also crypto. I mean, Trump is embracing crypto. Liberals hate it. There's another stark difference. And crypto, it's going to be important in this cycle. Brigitte Macron should come clean and tell the truth. Yeah, I don't know about that. Apparently, Candace Owens is being sued. I'm not sure if Candace is right on that. Maybe she is. I mean, I don't know why she would go out of her way that much if she's actually wrong. But people say she's wrong and she's embarrassing herself. So I don't know. Stream till you reach 300K. Yeah, I'd have to stream for days. Candace is probably right. I don't I haven't looked into it enough, but I mean it is weird that she would hyper focus on it that much if she's wrong. How often do you shave your beard? Yeah, I've been shaving it a lot lower because it just doesn't look that good, so I just shaved it today. No, I didn't shave it, I just trimmed it all the way down. You'll reach 300K by the end of the month. No. I'll reach it by probably on Saturday. Well, it depends how well my videos do. Now I'll reach it within a week, bro. It's only 1,000 subscribers from here, brother. So it'll happen way faster than the end of the month. I'll tell you that. Even if the subscriber count has slowed, the growth. It's weird nobody has come forward to confirm Macron being a dude ever. Right. You'd think there'd be a leak or something from a childhood friend. That seems to be an issue for Candace. React to Asmongold reacting to something. You see a lot of that. Yeah, I know. It's weird. It's like it's just all these reactions. What am I gonna? Why would I even react to Asmongold? He barely says anything. He barely even says anything when he reacts to stuff. He's like, "Oh yeah, let me give my political." You know, I try and watch it, but then it's like, dude, I don't give a shit. What? No, I shouldn't say that. I know he's popular, but why is MLB wanting to do expansion when all other teams are struggling with attendance? That's not true. MLB is going through an attendance boom. They're having really good attendance on a lot of these teams have good attendance now, so they can definitely expand. And if you expand to cities like Nashville, Nashville's going to be really good with attendance. So you'll be adding another team that has good attendance. They would want to do that for sure. There's not a ton of teams struggling with attendance with baseball compared to where it was 10 years ago or 5 years ago. They're seeing an attendance boom. Just got out of Fantastic Four, 7.8 out of 10. And what's with all these like fantastic? It's like I don't know, man. They just don't make like they're not making the movies that I want them to make. I think that's the problem. Asmongold is lame, but he reacted to Nick the other day, and everyone was agreeing with Nick in the comments on the Tucker beef. Yeah, I feel bad for Tucker. He's getting it's unfortunate what happened to him. I think he'll bounce back from it, but he's got to come out with a statement and just be like, this is just not true. But I don't know. Two people just unsubscribed. Yeah, they're trolling me. They want me to look. Or you're trolling me, and I'm not even gonna. I don't even care if two people unsubscribe. Don't care. Superman is woke as fuck now, calling Superman an immigrant. Yeah, what even is that? I don't even get that. I don't even know what's going on with that. I never watched the Superman movies anyways. I think the Spider-Man movies are entertaining, but the Superman movies I never watched. Maybe I would like them, I don't know. Can you quickly summarize the ticket? You mean Tucker ticket Nick stuff? You're out of the loop. Basically, Tucker Carlson said Nick Fuentes is, a good political figure, but he's probably gay. And then Fuentes said Tucker Carlson's in the CIA. XQC has over 2 million subs. Dude, XQC barely even speaks English. I don't even get it with him. But that's how those streamers are. I mean, you gotta give him credit. Your volume is super low. I know, dude. I'm so because you know what? It has to be something with it seriously is like I'm gonna just turn this up to 1 million because this always happens because I change it. I have to go from different ports because I use the other port to record. Now it's not even gonna load. It's like the universe does not want me to have high volume, I swear. Like, what even is this? It's the frickin' it's the settings. It won't even load settings. Dude. Oh my, I'm not even gonna be able to go to it. I can't even exit out of it. Where do you search? Where do you search? Oh. Dude. It's no, it's already on. It's already on. How is it on 100? No, my settings aren't. It always is low. It's always low. I don't know why. You use audio interface? I mean, I use some. Obviously, I have to connect it on OBS. So it just connects through there. Ranked sports commissioners. I guess Goodell would, well, I don't know. I'm not really familiar with the NHL one. So I would say Goodell is the best, and then Manfred, and then Silver. Always shave, don't get sloppy. Ladies like clean shaven. It depends. It really depends on the individual whether or not you should be clean shaven, because it may make you be. I mean, it depends. Some people look better with facial hair. Give Fantastic Four a chance. Those two people subbed again. You need a Mac? I have a Mac. But why? You don't use a Mac to stream, I'll tell you that. But I don't have a MacBook Pro. I have a desktop Mac. Dude, this guy is just all he does is it's Israel. Like, what does this even mean? Generational revolt. That doesn't even. What does it even mean? The only time people supported the Patriots is when Will Campbell gave his post. Yeah, he was pumped up. I remember that, the offensive tackle. Well, I don't think people really care about the Patriots anymore because they've been, Brady left, Belichick left, and now they've been terrible the past few years. So I don't think people really care. Yeah, it's just everything with Israel. I mean,
you mentioned Mamdani, and you are in New York, sort of speaking in behalf of him to a certain extent. I wonder, though, often we see this, and this is a local election. New York does not operate in a vacuum. It competes with other cities. And so this idea of somehow raising taxes on the wealthiest New Yorkers, who, by the way, I would point out, pay roughly 15% of their income right now between city and state, raising taxes on them will simply drive them away. Shouldn't the focus of a mayor be on delivering services to the constituents of the city and doing that by raising the most revenue as possible without chasing businesses and the high-income taxpayers out of the city? Because they can go to Austin, they can go to Dallas, they can go to Atlanta, they can go to Nashville. This is your issue. It's a national issue, not a local issue.
The issue is affordability. Do you know how many working families are chased out of New York City every day? because they can't afford housing, they can't afford groceries, they can't afford child care. What Zoran is saying is, I want people to be able to afford to live in New York City. That's what keeps it a vibrant city. That's what makes people want to live
Nobody
here.
disagrees with that, Senator, but raising taxes in order to do it?
Oh,
why
my
is that
goodness.
the answer?
Oh, dear. Are you worried that billionaires are going to go hungry?
No, I'm worried that they're going to leave and spend their money elsewhere.
You know, they've threatened to do that over and over and over.
And they have. They've left.
But here's the thing.
And Goldman Sachs, when they create new jobs, they do it in Dallas. And Blackstone won't build a new headquarters. And go on and on.
You want to have a workable city? You want to have a city that's vibrant? You want to have a city where the streets are full, where there are things for sale 24 hours a day? Then you need people who can live here and work here.
Well, we've got that right now,
Not
by the
people
way.
who
I
have
would
to
point
take
out
an
New
hour
York
and a
is
half
New York
in.
is thriving. So right
Well,
now it's doing
people-
pretty well, actually.
I'm glad you think they're doing well, because a lot of people are struggling to pay for housing. A lot of people are struggling to pay for groceries. And I got to tell you, mamas and daddies who are facing $25,000 a year.
Yeah, this is an interesting. Do you think Zoran will red pill New York in the long? It's possible. It's possible if it gets bad enough. I don't know how much the power that he will have as mayor to really change a ton of this stuff. I think his power is probably going to be pretty limited, but it probably will be a disaster. I think the argument against it would be New York City is so important for just the fact that it's New York City and Wall Street, and they can't move, and they need to do business in New York, and so that's why they say they can tax them at exorbitant rates and they won't leave. I don't know. I guess it depends how high the taxes are on them. At a certain point, they will have to, because you can go to other places, and it would just be so much, more advantageous. But, I mean, it also depends, how long Mondani would be mayor. Sounds like New York losing another electoral vote. Yeah, I mean, imagine the update on that. They probably lose a few more. There'd be people leaving for the 2030 census update. Thoughts on RFK Jr. healthy food bans? I don't know. What do you mean healthy foods bans? I saw the SNAP stuff to where that makes total sense. You're not allowed to purchase unhealthy foods with the SNAP. It makes perfect sense. We've already got a huge problem with health issues in this country because of weight and. Warren doesn't understand taxes are a very myopic approach and loses a bunch of GDP in the process. Well, I mean, what they think is they'll be able to because and the thing is these people use fucking capitalism to do this. The only reason they would generate this ridiculous amount of money to put in all the stuff that they want to put in is because people make so much because of capitalism. It enables them to make a lot. The rich people are already paying by far the most percentage in terms of taxes. By far the most. And so I think they think, well, if we can tax them, but they can't leave because it's Wall Street and they still have to do commerce there, they'll be able to make a bunch of money. If you are 75 and in good health, you should work at this point. Dude, that's like, you see, that's like what Ben Shapiro said. 75 is tough to work, man. I mean, but hopefully you have money saved up at that point. You pay over 100K in taxes. Well, that's a flex, to be fair. I mean, you're doing very well. But no, I get it. I hear you. I pay a lot as well. You think retirement should be 55? I don't know. I'm not sure that's possible. Just get rid of income tax, property tax, everything. Yeah, the problem with doing that is we have to generate revenue. We're already at a deficit, so we're going to lose more revenue. I mean, I understand. I think property taxes should be gone. It doesn't make sense. Property taxes, for them to exist. If you buy land, you shouldn't have to owe a tax on it. You already have to service the land to a degree and upkeep it, especially if you've got an HOA or something like that. Kloss, 6 figures. Yeah, but I mean, yeah. Dating life, nah, there's non-existent. Why can't we get rid of income tax and replace it with tariff revenue? Well, this is the problem. We're trying to make money back. Okay, we're trying to get money back. If we have a $2 trillion deficit, and I don't think it would replace it, dude. This is what you could do. Maybe for people make under 100K, you could do something like that. But if we're trying to get money back, you're just treading water. If you're saying, well, we have all this extra revenue now, so instead of using that against the deficit, we're going to use that to cover something new we've just added, which is eliminating, state income taxes. Been with you since 43K subscribers. Early congrats on 300K. I appreciate that. Thank you. Men gain value with age. No, that is true. New York is unaffordable because globalist policies and allow for unfettered migration as well as strict bureaucratic housing codes that prevent. Yeah, there's huge. You know what I've done research on the housing problem. A lot of it is zoning laws. There's terrible zoning laws that we have in the country, and it prevents housing from being built. And there's housing codes and stuff like that, but also it's just the amount of people within New York City. The demand is so crazy. You remember checking a similar YouTube channel? They make 50K. Nice to see YouTubers getting paid more. There's a website that you can check that's very accurate in terms of, I forgot what it is. It's a site that was in relation to Mr. Beast. I don't remember it. It was some analytical site. It's very accurate in terms of how much we make. The Social Blade is not accurate, or it's like, but it's such a large range. There's a site that's very accurate. The name of it was really dumb. It was something like Stats or something. I don't remember what it was. I tweeted about it, but this was a while ago. No, it's not Social Blade. Social Blade is not. It's like a really big range. And Social Blade, they redid their website. It looks like shit now. It's very hard to. It's like the interface is bad. Our tax is complicated for a YouTuber. Yours are super simple. W2. Yeah, I'm with I have people do them for me. I pay a membership to be a part of it, and they're relatively easy for me now because I just pay people to do it. So it's one of those things to where, well, there's some tax code stuff, and there's things that have to be done when you're, with the self-employment or working for a company. Sydney Sweeney is doing better than my Ethereum. I don't own any Ethereum. I own a lot of coins on Ethereum, but I don't own Ethereum itself. What makes up majority donations by whales or ad revenue? No, it's normally always ad revenue. Although recently it's been more of the live streams, but normally it's always ad revenue. Crypto taxes are a headache unless you pay for a service. Yeah, the crypto taxes are a mess. That's why they need to change the way in which they're done. They have to change the crypto taxes. They better do it because it's a pain in the ass. No, but you have to go through websites and you have to give them your wallet contract address, and it's a joke. Yeah, now people are commenting that I gained a sub. I gained a single sub. And people are commenting. They do this. They do these fear-mongering posts every day, I swear. Yeah. Yeah, I'll get to 300K by the end of the week probably, unless it gets really slow. Do you get a little plaque for 300K? No, I don't get a little plaque. You only get a plaque for 100K and a million and 10 million. Those are the only time they give you a plaque. Or it might not even be 10 million. It might be 100 million or something. They give Mr. Beast custom plaques now. It's a joke. It's a complete joke. You ever start a subreddit? It's just no point. You create an account to gain me a sub. Well, I mean, yeah, but that account's going to be dormant then. You think you'll do a 300K sub special? I mean, yeah, when I get close, I guess we'll do it. And it's like a fucking humiliation ritual. Basically, everyone unsubs to me, and then I go under 300, and dude, yeah. No, if I ever got big enough, you can bet the subreddit would just be people hating. That would be the subreddit. Look at Joe Rogan's subreddit. The dude's like as moderate as it can get. You think Joe Rogan would, if you look at Joe Rogan's subreddit, you would think he's formulating the plan to create the Fourth Reich on his podcast. If you look at his subreddit, but it's just how liberal these people are, especially with Trump. Remember the 200K? Yeah, but that was when I had like the election clout. So that was moving a lot quicker than it is now. It's moving a lot quicker. Dave, I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for the $20 donation. Thoughts on Texas Dems? It's a joke. It's terrible. It's a complete waste of time. They're crying because they're going to lose 5 districts, okay, because of gerrymandering. Yeah. What's the conservative alternative to, I mean, I do use Reddit, but not for any of that. Not for any of the political stuff, obviously. Conservative alternative would be X, honestly. That's the best conservative alternative. You could say like Truth Social or Gab, but I don't think those are very good. Four chan, yeah. You talked so much shit on Reddit last year before the election. I'm surprised they didn't just ban you. Normally they'll just ban you right away. 4chan leaked a bunch of posters had Israel IP addresses. Yeah, but is that really true? That seemed kind of ridiculous. They basically said like 90% of the website was from Israel. I mean, is that even the population of Israel? I don't really think that was accurate. You don't know a single person that uses Gab or Truth Social? Yeah, they're not used. They're only used by just the boomer right wing people, I think. Are you gonna? Are you still in the 4chan meme coin, or did you sell off? No, no, I'm still in it. Yeah, we do need. All right, guys, I'm gonna end it there. That's gonna do it for this live stream. Rank the top base meme coins on your crypto channel. I think I already did do some base videos. Show up on CNBC tomorrow at 8 a.m. We talk the rate cuts. Talk about the unemployment numbers. All right, guys. I'll see you.